Hello, this is Dennis with A1 Telephone Service and Repair, A1 Electronics. You can reach us on the web at www.a1-telephone.com, and you can also reach us at 618-235-6959. Today I want to show you the final checkout video of a really cool automatic electric rotary desk telephone. And this is John's telephone from California. And basically, John has had this telephone since he was a kid, he said, and so now he's having it worked on and getting it all back into condition to be able to use the telephone. And this telephone had a few issues. In the original checkout video, what it needed was a line cord installed, and basically everything on this telephone is hardwired, so we're kind of going to go through and show everything that we did. Something that I want to talk about here real quick is I want to show you on the center dial. We had an issue with the center dial. Every one of these A&Es that I have seen, basically you run into this from time to time. Now, I get this on some of the pay phones and some of the A&E rotary phones. In the initial checkout, you'll notice that this rotary dial didn't have a center card, and I have John's information covered up because basically he requested that he have his phone number on a center dial. The problem with these A&E rotary finger wheels that have the center dial is they don't have any kind of ring that fits over them, and they don't, like on some of the Western Electrics, what you do is you take the rotary finger wheel off and you insert a card that would look something like this, you know, and it fits up underneath the finger wheel. But on these A&Es, what happens is there's a center screw right here, and they don't have a cap that goes over that, and you can't put a card up underneath of them. And every one of these that I've seen, basically, they're stickers. And a lot of times on all these dials they have these outer rings, and those stickers will go out that far. They'll stick over the outer ring. You see how big this number card is? And that's how they end up looking. So the rotary dials on these A&Es, they would actually stick the center number card on. And we had a real hard time trying to locate any kind of a logo, because he wanted an A&E logo from the past, something like this. Well, if you see this card here, which is an original card, and you stick it on there, it's way too big. See, these A&E logo center dial ring cards are way too big for the more modern, which is still has some age on it, but they're way too big for these newer style rotary telephones. These kind of logos were basically made for the older telephones, so we can't use that. Plus it has a number on it, and John wanted his number on it. So, and you can't use one of these unless you stick it on. So what we had to actually do, and then here's a blank, and that's way too big. So, and like I said, every one I've ever seen, it's been stuck on, and you have to kind of like work it off and take it off because they got sticky stuff behind them. So that was A&E's way that they put their number cards on. They would stick them on or glue them on. So what we did, and I know this one kind of looks funny because I have some tape over it hiding John's telephone number. So what we actually had to do is we had to make one, and I wanted it to fit in these rings inside like it's supposed to, because every one I've ever seen always covers them up. So basically we made this one, and we had to downsize it, and then we installed his phone number across the center of it. So basically we just did what we had to do, and sometimes you have to just do what you have to do, and that's the way we handled it. And I'm sure it'll probably be okay. I wish it was a different situation where we could print one or get one and put it up underneath the finger wheel dial, but we have a coating over this one now, so basically I think it'll work out pretty good. But I kind of wanted to run through that because you don't really think about that kind of stuff when you have some of these different rotary telephones that work different ways. Now, on a Western Electric, you could simply tuck the card, take the finger wheel off, tuck the card up underneath of it, and then you would see your number card. But on these A&Es, they don't work like that. It's a different situation. And if you refer back to the original video, the initial checkout, you will see there's a screw that holds these finger wheels on, and it's right in the center. And they don't have any way to put a number card on and then a cap over it. So you just have to do what you have to do, and that's the way we handled that. So anyway, I have the body loose on this telephone. Give you some dial tone here. And what I want to do is I want to unplug the phone because I kind of want to show it to you. And so here's our line cord that we put on. I want to spin this around because I want to give you a look at this telephone. And it has all of its original equipment in it. The capacitor, the older style bell. And this older style bell here really reminds me of a Western Electric 302 bell, the way it's set up. It's basically the same design. And so, but this was A&E's version of it. And then we have our original capacitor here, automatic electric capacitor. And then if you remember, these type of dials don't have 2 screws on the side of them, or 3, like the tripod. A&E had a different ideal, and what their ideal was to take and slide the dial off. So it kind of slides into place, which I think is a pretty cool engineering design. I just think that's pretty cool because now you're done. You don't have to put any screws in. So A&E had, they're a major player in the telephone industry, and they had a lot of good ideals. Now, I wasn't big on this center dial. They didn't think too much out about the center dial ring that you were going to use, but I guess they figured, phone numbers would change, and it was much simpler for people to just put a new sticky dial on, a center dial, and that way they would just stick it over the old one or whatever instead of having to pull off the finger wheel like you do on a Western Electric. So that kind of design was a little iffy. But, they had some pretty good other designs. And so what we did here is we installed a modular line cord, a new one, so John can plug it in anywhere he wants. We also installed a modular port in case he ever wants to change that line cord. He can simply unplug it and then run it out the back and change it. And also we went through the rotary on this telephone. But what we're going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and plug the telephone in. I'm going to hang it up, and I'm going to go ahead and ring it. I'm going to let that go a couple times. And then I'm going to put the analyzer. The analyzer has a low ring setting. So even if there's not a lot of ring coming down the line for this telephone, I set the bell up where it would be as touchy as could be. So it would ring with a very small line voltage, and I'm gonna hit the low ring cycle. So that kind of, let it go a couple more times. And the reason why I did that is because some of these older phones pull a lot of ring when they ring, and they utilize a lot of the line voltage on a ring cycle. And so I wanted to make sure that this telephone rang in most any situation. So therefore, when I hit the low setting on the analyzer for the ring cycle, I'll let that go one more time. You can be pretty assured that it will always ring in any situation, and that's what I wanted to make sure of. I wanted to make sure that the telephone would ring. And I'm going to set the body back here because we really don't need the body. This telephone's in very good condition, but I'm going to walk through the numbers. I'm going to give you some dial tone. And I'm going to leave the handset cord on it. He's had this since he's a kid, and, you know, it might as well just, it was original to the phone most likely, so we're just going to go ahead and leave it. It doesn't really need to be changed at this time. But if you watch the analyzer, I'm going to walk through the numbers. And I'm going to end in a 2. I'm going to hang up. I'm going to do that one more time. And I'm going to end in a 2. Okay, so we know that the telephone's working. I'm going to go ahead and transmit into the handset now. And if you watch the analyzer, you'll see every time that light lights, it's 100% modulation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we know that the telephone is transmitting, and we know that it's receiving. So we're going to switch the telephone over into a regular line, and we're going to call, say, like a time and temp number. Give you some dial tone. And I'll go ahead and dial, say, like a time and temp number.
Good afternoon. Shop our entire location online anytime at Offenburg.com. Today is Friday, December 30th. The time is 1:41. Current temperature 65 degrees. Now the weather forecast for the Belleville area.
Windy today, partly cloudy skies with a chance of rain, highs around 50. Colder tonight, partly cloudy, lows in the 30s. Mostly sunny on Saturday, highs around 60.
Okay. Give you some dial tone. And I'll dial my number and it'll be busy. Okay, so we know the telephone is in working condition now. These older telephones will pull a lot more voltage out of the line. If you can look at the electronics that they have here in the older style coils, they can pull the line voltage down quite a bit, just for the simple fact that it takes a lot to run these telephones. They're not like a modern telephone. So in some cases, it can pull the voltage down, and you would have a lower receive and transmit than you normally would. This telephone does pull a lot of line voltage out of the line, but it still, is at the point where it should work just fine with a normal voltage coming from whatever telephone system you have, like a regular CO coming in from the local LEC, a regular line, or a high-speed internet modem should be enough to feed this phone. But, I always like to warn people. I'm just going to set the body on here because I'll put it on after the video. But I like to warn people because, these telephones do take a little more voltage than a regular phone. They're set up differently. They work under different types of electronics and components, and they can take a lot more line voltage out, as they can take a lot more RIN out of the ring cycle. But they're cool phones, and they're still usable, and that's what's neat about it. And now John, since he's had this since he was a kid, he can enjoy this telephone again, and hopefully, the center dial ring will work out for him. But I just didn't want to take some kind of, sticker and stick it on there and then cover a lot of this up, or trim it out. I wanted to go ahead and make him one that had the A&E logo on it and then have his number on it. So hopefully that'll work out fine. But we'll just have to, see how it all goes. But in the end, I think it worked out pretty good. So this is Dennis with A1 Telephone Service and Repair, A1 Electronics. You can reach us on the web at www.a1-telephone.com, and you can also reach us at 618-235-6959. This is John's A&E Rotary Desk Telephone from California. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.